Hello and welcome to the Yorkshire Voice. This Monday, the 24th of March, I'm Matthew Dudley.
And I'm Theo Darvill.
And now for some news in brief. An investigation has been launched after police were called to Whitehall Road at the junction with Globe Road in Leeds in the early hours of this morning, where a man had been found dead. There are ongoing inquiries, but it is not believed to be suspicious.
And the Leeds peer says he's saddened by the announcement of the closure of a historic school in Leeds. Lord Kane has told the House of Lords Fullneck School in Pudsey has been a unique part of Leeds heritage since 1753 and touched on the issues that led to the closure. The school announced that it will close in July and over 300 students will need to move elsewhere.
A large number of small independent schools across the country that have been struggling to keep their heads above water. The imposition of VAT, of increases in employer national insurance are the policies that will sink many of those who have struggled.
Further worrying news for staff and students at the University of Bradford after it was announced that the university can no longer afford to run the on-campus nursery due to cost-cutting measures. Parents have started a petition calling for the university to reconsider its decision because of the impact it would have on their studies and careers.
Now, there's about to be a change in the way food is collected for businesses in Leeds, and now it may come to some as a surprise.
From Monday, commercial properties will be required to separate their food waste from general waste for storage collection. Charlie O'Brien has this report.
New legislation, which will require businesses in England to dispose of food waste in separate bins, will come into force at the end of this month. The rules were announced last September to little fanfare, and it has left some vendors feeling blindsided.
It does feel like it's come around quite quickly, with not too much that's been communicated to us to help us get prepared for it, so that's a little bit frustrating.
We will need another bin. A bin is a plastic, and we will need to buy more like bean bags. That's money, waste of money.
A spokesperson for the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs said, "This government will end our throwaway society and stop the avalanche of rubbish that is filling up our high streets, countryside and oceans." The aim of the legislation is to ease the recycling process, a move that the businesses we spoke to were largely in favour of.
If it's trying to improve recycling, then I guess it's always a good thing. I don't think it'll be very difficult for a company like Wardrobe or Olivettes to do something like that. You know, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Put your food in one bin, everything else in the other bin. So yeah, I see it as a good thing.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind it. Anything that, mitigates or reduces food waste or any sort of waste is, that's kind of built into our business anyway. We reduce waste, we want to reduce our impact on the environment. So I can definitely get behind it.
Will the move be helpful or a load of rubbish? Only time will tell. Charlie O'Brien, Yorkshire Voice.
Gary Stott finishing that story there. Thank you, Thea. We've got some sport for you now with Theo Darvill in the studio.
Thank you, Johnny. So starting off with the rugby today, with Leeds Rhinos facing Warrington Wolves later on tonight. The away game marks the 5,000th fixture in the Super League, and as only point difference separates the two sides, a win for the Rhinos would help them rise up the table. Now on to the football. Leeds United face Swansea in their first game back after the international break this Saturday. The two teams have met previously this campaign, with Leeds coming out on top in a 7-goal thriller with the help of last-minute goal from Willie Gnonto. Leeds boss Daniel Farke spoke ahead of the game, stating, "Although the challenge is there and will be a great difficult game, we want to find some good solutions to create chances, to score goals and then hopefully to secure all 3 points." Both Sheffield teams are also in action this weekend, with United playing against Coventry at 8 p.m. tonight and Wednesday travel to Cardiff tomorrow. So it's looking like a packed weekend for sport in Yorkshire.
And now we can cross over to Courtney Brady live for an update on the weather.
Thank you, Ahmed. So yes, as you can see behind me, we've got a mixture of sun and cloud, but we are looking at a bright yet cooler feel compared to earlier this week. Throughout the evening, a mixture of bright spells and showers will cross over the Pennines, with the eastern areas staying mostly dry. A noticeable breeze with strong gusts and a heavier rain than we've been seeing is to be expected, with the maximum temperature reaching around 11 degrees. Tonight we have a clear sky with a potential touch of frost. Looking ahead to Saturday, we'll start with sunshine, but we're predicting a cloudier afternoon with strong winds and a light rain arriving from the west. These winds will begin to pick up as we head into the evening. A dry night, however, with a maximum of 11 degrees Celsius. As we look at the week ahead, it's mostly sunny and warmer temperatures. Don't forget that clocks will be going forward this weekend, bringing in longer days and warmer nights. Back to you in the studio.
And meanwhile, the Chancellor is preparing to announce her spring statement. Similar to the autumn budget, the statement gives the Leeds West MP Rachel Reeves the opportunity to introduce new measures to help the economy.
It marks a significant challenge for the Chancellor, who will be hoping to finance public services without causing major political disruption. Our reporter Benjamin Monsey has more.
Thanks, Sinead. When elected in July last year, Labour said their central mission was to kickstart the economy. Now, 8 months on, the economy is flatlining. According to YouGov polling data, 80% of Brits said that the public finances are in a bad state, with only 3% describing it as good. It's into this space that the first female Chancellor of the Exchequer and Leeds West MP, Rachel Reeves, will attempt to introduce remedying economic strategies in her spring statement tomorrow. However, she will have to walk a difficult political tightrope, attempting to fulfil Labour's promise of increased public spending whilst simultaneously not raising taxes. So how will the Chancellor find the money? The area with the largest consensus for cuts, according to polling, was welfare, with 51% saying cuts could be made. Of this figure, only 19% believe it can be done without any negative effects. One option the Chancellor seems to have her sights upon is cutting waste in government. This could include saving money by removing red tape in institutional bodies like the civil service. Just recently, the Prime Minister announced the scrapping of NHS England, perhaps a sign of things to come. Up until the announcement tomorrow, however, this is all just speculation. So join us tomorrow where we'll have the full breakdown of the statement and discuss how the changes will affect you. Back to you, Holly.
Now, from holes in the road to holes in the pavements, a surge of paving stone thefts in the Roundhay area has been causing an increasing amount of concern among the local residents. The Yorkshire stones are highly sought after for their durability, and replacing them is costing Leeds taxpayers tens of thousands of pounds. Anna Barnes is now live to tell us more.
Yes, thanks, Matt. Well, I'm here in Oakwood with Tony Quinn today, who's a concerned local resident. So, Tony, could you tell us a bit more about how is this issue impacting the local residents here?
Well, in all kinds of ways, really. I mean, it's a blight on the neighbourhood that's been going on since I moved here in 2010. So 15 years we've been getting York Stone flag stolen. This week and last week, you can see behind us there's some red barriers here. That's a batch that went a week ago. There's a batch further up went a few days before that. We're still waiting for the council to come and patch those up. It affects everybody. We've got, there's some, like it's not really sheltered accommodation, but assisted living just over the road. There's people there who are disabled. We've got residents there, one particularly who's blind, trying to walk along these what used to be pavements. But the area that concerns me most now is that the thefts are ongoing. They've been ongoing all that time, with all the different ideas that the council have come up with of smart water and marking them and all this. It all still happens. What happens after that is what concerns me. It's completely within Leeds City Council's remit to do a nice job of repairing afterwards. And what we're getting is just the quality of that it's just awful. It is absolutely unacceptable. We're left with crumbling tarmac around what I call broken biscuits, which are the flagstones that even the thieves didn't want, which for some reason the council thinks in character with the conservation area to leave them here for us. So at the moment I'm really focusing on campaigning to get a better job of the restitution and repairs that are done after the thefts. Stopping the thefts fair enough. If we see a crime in progress, we can ring 999. If we see some missing flags, we can't ring the police. They weren't ours. You can't say something was outside my door yesterday, it's not there today. It might have been stolen. You know, the council, we report to the council, these flags have been missed. The council should report it to the police and the police could take some action. But what I really want are some acceptable repairs. It's a conservation area.
Thank you for joining us today. Back to the studio.
The Rhinos have had an eventful week off the pitch too, as it was announced that coach and former player Jamie Jones-Buchanan is set to take over as club CEO at the end of the season. We spoke to him ahead of this weekend's game about the new role.
So I've got loads of work to do. That'll never end in terms of understanding what our fans need, want. But ultimately, I think I'd be able to guess as well, and that's to find some success or hope of success, to be challenging for trophies, to be winning games, to be competing in an entertaining way, to be bringing youth through, giving opportunities for our young players.
Thanks for joining us. What can you tell us about the bus services moving to public control and how this will impact passengers and the bus operators?
So West Yorkshire currently has a Wild West system of running its buses. It's a system called deregulation. No other European country has ever brought in the system we have in West Yorkshire and across much of England. And it basically means the private companies have free rein to do what they like on the services. Franchising or public control starts to reverse that system. So rather than having a private company able to just set up and run whatever route it likes, whatever fares it likes, now the mayor controls what routes get run, what the fare structure is, and also gets all the money that's made off selling tickets. Now, what she has to do under the current plans is contract that back out to private companies, and that contracting out is happening now, and so we expect to see a move to the franchising system in around 2027. And for passengers, it will mean we get integrated fares and tickets and routes. In Greater Manchester, where they've brought this in, it's improved the reliability and punctuality of the buses. It's also increased the frequency and added new routes to services.
And joining us now is Brendan Walker, a Yorkshire-based transport consultant. So thank you very much for coming in, Brendan.
Thanks for having me.
And just to start off, what was the effect of the previous cap, and how is it going to change things now that it's up to £3?
So the initial cap, the government did a review, as you might expect, and they found that after the implementation of the £2 cap, there was a 5% increase in national bus ridership, which doesn't sound like a lot, but really it's been in free fall since the mid-80s, so any increase is unprecedented. So it's been a roaring success, really, and so it'll be a case of wait and see with the £3 whether it'll have the same effect.
And do you think there'll be anyone in particular affected by this, and will there be any compensation for them?
Where we're at with bus services now is they've been run down to such a degree where it's the profitable routes that are running, and the socially beneficial routes are pretty much long gone. So those that are using the buses day in, day out through no choice, those extra 50p's and pounds on every fare will start to add up, and it will make a difference. I mean, when it becomes part of the combined authority, then there's a chance there that funding will be a bit more level rather than being funneled into the operator's pocket. So there's a chance there that things will get better, hopefully, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, thank you very much, Brendan. Now to see what the weather has in store for us, we can cross live to Eric Hayward.
Well, it's clear spring is definitely in the air here. In Yorkshire, as throughout today, we have a mix of clouds and sunny spells, but it looks to be mostly dry across the region as we view the week ahead. Temperatures today have been hitting highs of 15 or 16 degrees. However, as night falls, we expect lows of between 4 and 6 degrees, expecting winds reaching gusts of 20 miles an hour in certain areas. A slight change in weather comes as we head into tomorrow, as we're expecting to see mostly sunny skies throughout, with peaks of 16 degrees throughout the day and a low of 8 at night. Enjoy the sunshine over the next couple of days, as we expect showers of the rain head our way as the weekend progresses. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Courtney, and that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us over this past fortnight.
And you can continue to keep up to date with the latest by following us on our Yorkshire Voice socials and all on our website. Now, from all of us here in the studio and in the newsroom, thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.